O sweet Sans, how thy name hath been pummeled by thy popularity, yet thee shalt not be forgotten by those who care. But the people of the interwebs understandeth, wherefore thy mind is not that of the fool, but the jester. Yes, because when it comes to characters in video games that know more than what they first let on, Sans may hold the record in that regard, as Undertale is one of the most fourth wall-breaking games, without using it as a tool for comedy, but rather a story-driven effect to make you question the decisions and even the very thought process that you make and have as a gamer. Anyway, to fully understand someone, you need to know where they're coming from. So welcome to the underground.
Here there be monsters.
The underground is where every monster resides, as they were sealed under the surface of the earth by humans at the end of an old war. Why did the war happen? What happened after? Not really part of the topic, but after some events, the king under the mountain, known as Asgore, declared that every human were to be killed on sight in the underground, if found. Because if they collect 7 human souls, they can break the barrier which is holding them chained down to their dark home. The main character, which is you, are the 7th human to fall into the underground, and the future of this place rests on your shoulders. There are 3 major endings to the game: escaping the underground, leaving everyone behind, saving it, or destroying it, liberator or executioner. 2 titles which gives you the power to judge others, but also titles for which someone is to judge you. Which leads us to the most loved character of the game, Sans. Brother of Papyrus, Sans is a comical, lazy and downright nihilistic skeleton which lives with his brother in the small town of Snowdin. Throughout the story of Undertale, he will either be a friend who you'll meet through your adventure, or he'll not be seen until the ending if you make some questionable decisions on the way. The decisions are quite easy to make, and it will create 3 paths to the different conclusions. The neutral route, where you may kill some monsters but not all of them. The pacifist way, where none shall be harmed with everyone befriended. And then there's the genocide route. As you may realize, by following the neutral or pacifist route, you will gain the friendship of Sans, as long as you do not kill his brother. Every time you meet him, he'll either do a small prank on you or he'll tell you something serious. Sometimes both. So let's talk about the main story and every encounter you make with this skeleton. Now, I will only focus on the events leading up to and being around this character, so many things of the story will not be talked about. So let's begin with the story, known as Undertale. The narrative starts off by giving us a brief history lesson of the relationship between man and monster, and how the later of the two ended up sealed under Mount Abbott. It also shows the main character fall down into the ruins, where the gameplay kicks in. The beginning is more of a small tutorial, with literal hand-holding, in a good way, with the motherly character Toriel. Anyway, when exiting the area, the first monster you meet is... So quite early in the game, he shows no hostility towards you, even when the king has ordered the capture and murder of humans. And we can see that this is exactly Sans' job, being a sentry, looking for humans. I'll get back to why he won't capture you later, but he says at this point it is because he doesn't really care, which fits with his lazy, laid-back attitude that every other monster knows him for. Not only does he not capture you, he asks you, right after meeting him, to cheer his brother up, even when the monsters in the underground have a negative look on humans. So after the first encounter with Skeleton, we get that he is kind, lazy, he loves puns, and that he can do this. I envy him! Anyway, once you get to Snowdin, you will not meet Sans again until you're headed for the next area called Waterfall. However, there are tons of stuff we can talk about here, as this is where the 2 brothers live. The first thing we notice outside their home are the 2 mailboxes, one filled with junk mail and the other cleanly empty. Inside the house, we get an entire plethora of evidence that shows how lazy this guy is. A sock on the ground with notes of messages between the brothers of cleaning it up. A joke book which contains a science book, which contains a joke book, which contains a science book. Which contains a joke, a pet rock which Sans never feeds, and a couch riddled with cash. So with all this, we can come to the conclusion that he is absolutely lazy. So should we just cross that off of our list? No, we shall not. Anyway, continuing through Snowdin, you will meet the skeleton by another sentry station, where he will invite you for dinner at Grillby's, as he needs a break because he is oh so lazy. Just a second note, if you kill Papyrus, which is right before this encounter, you will not meet Sans until the ending. But let's focus on the neutral route for now. At Grillby's, he shows us how loved and known he is in the small town, making jokes, everybody misses him when he leaves, etc. This is also the first time when we get to see a bit more serious side of him, telling you about someone who potentially is pulling a prank on his brother with what is called an echo flower, which is a flower that repeats the last sentence that it heard, by comforting him, telling him predictions and other sorts of stuff. Now, obviously we know that this is the game's main antagonist, but that's not what really matters here. Right now, Sans is giving the main character, who is a human, information on something rather serious that he considers important because he cares for his brother. After leaving the player with some vague comments, showing him unsure on what else to tell you, you'll meet him next at the waterfall, casually standing next to a telescope, telling the player that he's considering taking money for it so that people can use it. This, of course, is a joke, as he is a jokester. So you'll meet him plenty of times like this throughout the game, standing around, pranking the player with small stuff. Continuing through the waterfall, you will eventually end up in a confrontation with the captain of the Royal Guard, Undertale. Being rather weak and a pacifist, you start running for your life, and who do you see on your way? Sleeping on his third job. How lazy can one get? Anyways, well, not any serious conversation about talking flowers this time. When we meet him, he sells hot dogs. Okay, do you need more evidence now? Or shall I just keep going? You know what? I'll just keep going. He sells tickets at the concert, you can have it Chai Ren. He has his own spiel at the MTT resort, probably being a stand-up comedian, and he was a scientist. So let's summarize everything he has that is considered work. He works at sentry stations looking for humans at 3 different locations. He has sold tickets, hot dogs, and the chance of using a telescope. He is a stand-up comedian at the MTT resort and is the most savage when it comes to his boss fights if he were to go through with the genocide run. Sure, his downfall is that he gets tired and falls asleep, but tell me, what is more impressive when it comes down fighting, huh? This? Or this? Now, I understand that some of you might be a bit skeptical here. If he's not lazy, why is his house full of his junk? Why is his mail not taken in? Why is even Papyrus calling him a lazy bone? Well, let's try to look at this case from a different angle. If he's not lazy, why is the junk there? Not a single lazy individual would have this kind of junk lying around their house. A sock with notes on it? With several notes written by the lazy one? Sorry, but even the most lazy bum would just throw it in their room just to be done with it, or even at least hide it from those annoyed by it. Would they write notes? Take it into the room and return it like Sans did? We know that he is smart enough to understand what Papyrus meant, so obviously that piece of junk is debunked. The exact same thing can be said about the magazine that goes inceptional with itself. No one supposedly so lazy would do all this to annoy someone. And the pet rock is a mystery to us all. I don't really know what this means, but it can work with my conclusion on the matter. The answer will come to us when we put 2 things together. He is fully aware of the save function. Of course, he believes it's time traveling, but we the player load and save the game, and he knows that the save function is controlled by an individual. Again, he knows someone is resetting everything he does. So what would you do? If you suddenly were aware of someone's ability to control time, you would make reminders to yourself all over the place and hope something different would happen. For example, someone telling you a secret code only you yourself knew about, which is exactly what Sans has. The last time you have a confrontation with him, alone that is at the hall before the throne room, where Sans will judge your actions if you have hurt anyone, etc. However, if you load the game after Sans' speech, he will notice that you seemed like you've heard his spiel before, making him state that he has suspected something like this, and then he will give you a code word, hoping that you will return back in time to tell him this code. Do just that, and get another code. Load the game a 3rd time and he will tell you that you're qualified, while giving you the key to his room, telling you that it is time you learned the truth. So finally, here we are, the truth from an individual who knows of the time/save mechanic, the only video game character that is aware of saving and loading. Just what is it? I hate him! Is this really all there is to him? Is it just a comic relief? Giving us a disappointing payoff after all this work to inform him of our power? Actually, this is the best thing we could get from it. A friendly message. A practical joke, not toward Frisk, but to the player. During his boss fight, he states that he thought the only thing the time traveler needed was a friend. And that is exactly what he does here. He's not laughing at us, he's laughing with us. When meeting him at the MTT resort after Hotland, he tells you that the only reason he didn't attack you outside the ruins was because of a promise he made with Toriel, and that created his suspicion that you are the time traveler. He didn't need all his junk at the house, or the pranks he made around the world. Something new happened in the ruins. Someone made him make a promise. After learning of the use of time travel, he started his journey of stopping it, believing in the ones who could control the save/load function. He didn't take in his mail, and started with small junk collection, because he has probably told himself that when he actually do bring in the mail and clean up his mess, the time usage had have to have stopped. We know that he isn't lazy with all the jobs and extra stuff we know that he has, so what else could it be? And finally, when he meets the time traveler, what does he do? He throws a joke at them, making them not only feel welcomed, but accepted as his friend. Sans is a caring brother, loved comedian, and a character who knows more than he lets on. Being fully aware that the world could reset at any time, he's the one with the most hope in the dark abyss. Not letting anyone else know of the saving and loading, he burdened himself with that knowledge, preparing and hoping that he will find the ones behind that tower so that they will allow him to bring in his mail. And that is the mind of Sans. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed what you saw, leave a like. If you think that some of your friends may enjoy it, again, show it to them, share it with them. If you want updates on my future videos, follow me on Twitter. If you want to support me like a true human being, but only if you enjoyed my video, subscribe. And until the next video, I'm KingJ.Grim, or KingJ.Grim, so whatever you prefer, and I'll see you guys next time.